Hey YouTube, this is Whiteout from Team Shadowburst. I'm bringing you a deck profile on one of my teammates' decks. He took to our locals today. We tried to get him under the 10-minute time limit, but he just couldn't do it, so I'm going to do it for him. Basically, it's a Cyber Dark Dragunities. It does work pretty well. He went 2-2, but he's still beta testing the deck, so this is version 1. We'll bring you a later version as soon as he gets a new build for it, but here we go. We have 2 Legionnaires, great for overall field control. Equip it with Accolades and, just pop a monster, pop him. Stardust on the field, Stardust can negate him, but he can't negate Accolades, which is the cost, so Accolades are going to go off either way. So you'll still get the pop on something. Very good. Next, we have 2 Ducks, very good. He's a beat stick of the Dragunities, and he also allows you to sync for Phalanx or anything else you might need. You can bring back, but he's also graveyard control if you needed it for something. Very good. We have 2 Phalanx. The main syncing engine of the Dragunity allows you to, basically, if he's equipped to anything, you can special summon him from the Mattering Trap Zone to the field to allow for a quick sync. Very good. Next we have 2 Accolades. Accolades is the main destructor. He's the only card in existence that can make a space a monster destroyer if you play it right. So I'm happy with him. Plus you can normal summon him and equip him, special summon Dragunity and equip it with him. So very good. Korsheshka, 2 of those, basically to help search out the Cyber Darks, because when he's equipped to a Cyber Dark and he destroys a monster, you get to search out another monster of the same attribute and type. So very good for thinning out. Next we go to the Cyber Dark part. 2 Cyber Dark Horns. Basically you can equip any of the Dragunities that have been put into this deck as far as the Dragon types go, and it powers them up, makes them either a 16 to an 18 beater, which is very good. You can even sync, or you could just leave him on the field for a beat stick. Cyber Dark Horn, he has piercing, so able to run over Spirit Reaper, stuff like that. Next we have 2 Edges, same thing as Horn, you can equip, leave it on the field, or sync. He has his effect though is halving, and you can hit your opponent directly, which can also be a good thing depending on what you're trying to do. And last for the Cyber Darks is Keel. He's actually the main beater. When you equip him with Accolades, he becomes 18, and when he runs over something, they're going to take an extra 3 damage, even if it's in defense. And, if your opponent tries to ram the Cyber Darks because of their ability to send the equip card to it, if Accolades is equipped to it, then Accolades is going to pop something on the field. So either way, it's a win-win situation with you. You still get to keep your monster. That's it for the Cyber Darks. Now we have 1 Exploder Dragon, very good. You take 0 battle damage, so you can just attack him face down just to see what it is. And when he's destroyed by battle, whether he's attacked or is attacked, then you still get to destroy the monster. Very good. Sangan, basic searcher of the deck, allows you to bring out mainly the Cyber Darks to your hand when he's synced for or sent to the graveyard. We have Prime Material Dragon, very good anti-destruction. And when you're facing something like Cylinders, they try to OTK you and increase your life points instead. And it saves all your Dragon type monsters, which in the extra deck you'll see that in a second. The main Dragon type engine of the deck, 2 Red Eyes Darkness Metals, quick summon to the field, and also very allows you to swarm. Kind of a hopeless build itself, so it allows you to also bring back your Dragon type tuners to sync for whatever you may need. Very good, especially in this build. 2 Red Eyes Wyverns. When he's in the graveyard, when Metal's in the or Darkness Metal's in the graveyard, then you can just remove it at the end of the phase if you haven't summoned or set, and special summon him to the field. So it allows you to recycle your Darkness Metals when you lose them. So not bad. 1 Foolish Burial. We're on to the spells now. Foolish Burial basically allow you to put anything that you might need in the graveyard if you haven't hit your Future Fusion or the Dragon Ravines yet. So you can't really fight that. 1 Book of Moon, just because Book of Moon's good in any deck. It offensive or defensive, whatever you choose, Pot of Avarice. Pot of Avarice is very good, especially in this deck because of all the thinning that goes on. You may need to recycle your Cyber Darks or maybe your Ducks or your Legionnaire just so you can get an extra draw. Plus, pull them back out and just go for the whole thing over again. So too bad it's at 1. Should be at 2. Future Fusion, the ultimate deck thinning card when you run fusions or dragon types or anything that fuses for that matter. Very good. Don't really use it to get the fusion off in this deck. You more use it to thin it. So, if you pull it first turn or third turn, doesn't really matter. It'll still be good, especially in this build. Next we have Card Destruction. If you end up with a hand of high levels, maybe Prime Material Dragon and the Red Eyes Metals, and you need to get them to the graveyard, you could allows you to drop them and then redraw. So it's a great deck thinner as well. Cards for Continents, all the tuners in this deck that are less than 1,000, the Dragunity ones, great targets for this card. Allow you to draw and puts them right in the graveyard where you need them. Dragon's Mirror, basically to go for a 5-headed dragon, last resort card. You want to keep your phalanxes and everything in the graveyard as long as possible until you have nothing left, then you just use that. It's 5,000, pretty hard to get over. Next we have 3 Mystical Space Typhoons. Back row destruction is always a good thing, especially in nowadays format, because everything's being zigzagged around. Some decks have a lot of back row, some decks don't, so this card is great for almost any deck. We have 2 Terraforming for this deck. 3 is a little excessive for the build because of the way it's set up, so he only runs 2, and it's worked out pretty well for him so far. Just like any Dragunity engine, you need 3 Ravines. The Ravines help get any dragon type he needs into the graveyard, and it helps him get any of his Wing and Beast Dragunities or the tuners to his hand, so it's a really good card. You can't really go wrong with 3 in the deck. That's it for the spells. Now we're on to the traps. 2 Bottomless Trap Holes, basically to help maintain field control. That way he can wipe out whatever his opponent might summon, except for Stardust, but there's other ways around that in this deck with Accolades and everything else like that, so not a bad card. 1 Magical Cylinders, great for turning the tide on your opponent, especially if they try to overpower something that you don't want to be overpowered. Can't really argue with it. And 1 Mirror Force, staple in any deck, makes any deck better. So that's it for the main deck. Now we're going to go on to the extra deck. For start, we have 2 FGDs, just on the off chance that Future Fusion does hit, it gets spaced, and you need Dragon's Mirror later, then it allows you to hit for both of them. Not really a common occurrence, but still does happen. Then we have 1 Red Nova Dragon. It can be brought out in this build. Fairly easy. It's been recommended to him that he doesn't try and go for it, because when he tries to go for it, that's when he loses it. Just go for it if you can. But it is a good card. Can't be destroyed by parts, card effects, and gets a power up for all the tuners, which there's a lot of tuners in this deck, so can't really go wrong with it. 2 Red Dragon Archfiends. Red Dragon is his favorite synchro, and it's a powerhouse of the synchros. It's 3,000 of the 5 dragons, that are the symbol for the 5Ds era of Yu-Gi-Oh! So, a lot of destruction, which is what he likes, basically. Stardust, counter anything. Basically, staple in any synchro deck. Let's see here. Okay. Trident, I don't really think he had an opportunity to use this today, but it's part of the Dragunity, so it can turn a bad situation into a good one if he ever does manage to pull it off. We have Gay Bulge. Basically, a built-in honest for the Dragunities. You just tap the graveyard for a Winged Beast to remove it, and it stays like that. So, and it's during the damage step, so your opponent can't really counter it except for a counter trap. Very good. Exploder Dragon Wing, basically when it battles anything below its attack or equal to, it destroys it immediately without damage calculation and inflicts damage to your opponent equal to the attack of that monster. Great for a burner and great for an instant destruction. 24, kind of hard to get over. Then we have 1 Gaia Force of the Earth. Basically, if you need a run over or pesky Stardust or something else, that might be 25 or lower. Then we have 2 Iron Chain Dragon, just for if their decks getting low, like in Light Swarms or some case like that, they can mill it out and force them to deck out. And then, last but not least, Armory Arm. Basically, attach it to anything and turns it into an instant Flame Wingman and gives it 1,000 attack points. So, really can't go wrong when you're equipping with this. But anyway, that's the build he took. 2 and 2 at locals. We will be giving you an update as soon as he tests out again with his revamps. This is Whiteout, profile and cheese sticks deck. Comment, rate, subscribe, YouTube. Good night.